Playing Super Mario stages backwards is actually a ton of fun. There is something weirdly satisfying about platforming through Super Mario levels, while Mario just permanently looks into the wrong direction. So I always want to build a Mario Maker level that is meant to be played backwards, but there always was a slight problem. How do we prevent Mario from running through the stage looking into the wrong direction? So we actually know about contraptions that forbid Mario to turn around, but those sadly don't allow us to build a backwards only stage for reasons that we will soon discuss in too much detail. So Mario Maker 1 came and went, and I never found a way to build a backwards only level. Until now, because thanks to our new, very best friends, the on-off blocks and a couple of weird loading mechanics, it is finally possible to do exactly this. So today we're not only going to add a new entry onto our dangerous list of evil, but we'll also take a look at a stage that features two different designs for Don't Look Back contraptions in Super Mario Maker 2. So are you ready? Let's do this! Okay, so here Mario finds himself in front of the entrance to a mysterious cave, the frozen, backwards only cave. Legends say that this cave can only be explored by those who are able to overcome all fear and explore it without seeing what's coming next. Naturally, Mario decides to ignore those legends. A real plumber doesn't listen to such lullabies, so Mario enters the cave and the floor transforms into shiny yet deadly coins, and Mario falls into his doom. Who could have known? Looks like Mario is willing to give it another try. So this time our plumber starts by facing to the left and by doing a ground pound on top of the acceleration slope, and here we go. Now Mario is forced to keep his momentum while dodging dangerous, sharp saw blades that apparently live inside this mystical backwards only cave. But what is this? Oh no, Mario lost his momentum. What is our plumber supposed to do now? Well, maybe he can just leave the cave the way he just oh well, no. Looks like the path backwards is now suddenly blocked by a blocking bullet blaster. Well, I guess Mario has no other choice than to look to the right again. Bye, Mario. Guys, honestly, why does Mario always end up in cursed ruins given how unbelievably bad he seems at exploring them? Maybe we should get someone more competent for the job. Luigi. Someone who really knows how to explore ancient places and retrieve tons of treasure all on his own. Someone who has a lot of experience with haunted places. Thunder. You know, someone who actually fits the job description of an adventurer. Ooh. Someone more competent than Mario. So here Toadette finds herself in front of the ancient frozen backwards only cave. She takes a look at the huge arrow warnings in front of her and immediately realizes that she's supposed to beat the stage without ever looking to the right. That shouldn't be too much of a problem for a competent Lady Mushroom. All that she has to do here is to use the slopes along the way to build up new momentum, jump over the bottomless pits and avoid the ouching saw blades. Business as usual, just the other way around. After a while Toadette reaches this pipe. This pipe leads to the top of a vertical sub area. So once again there are arrow signs telling Toadette to not look left, and once again she immediately goes to work. This time the path doesn't lead to the right, but downwards instead. It's basically a gigantic slope slide that slowly brings our walking mushroom closer to the exit. Though there are no brick blocks to be seen here, I wonder what happens if Toadette looks to the right. I mean, there is no floor to transform into shiny and deadly coins here. Anyway, so Toadette perfectly makes it through all the threats along the way. She dodges all the dangerous saw blades and happily slides down until she finally reaches the bottom of the stage. Hooray! Wait, Toadette, wait, stop, Toadette, sorry, we really should show off what happens if you look into the wrong direction, shouldn't we? Alright, so once Toadette looks into the wrong direction, a hidden don't look forward mechanism triggers, the exit pipe becomes locked and this door opens up. This door leads our backsliding mushroom being back to the beginning of the slope slide. Basically, whenever Toadette looks into the wrong direction, she has to redo the whole slide until she finally makes it through without looking forward once. Hooray! Okay, so how does all of this work? Well, the answer is actually surprisingly simple. But before we take a look at the answer to this little riddle, we first have to discuss something else. Namely, why building a stage like this wasn't possible in the first Mario Maker. Okay, so let's start by taking a look at how we're able to detect into which direction a player looks in the first place. So this little setup is all that we need. So this boo is the star of this tiny contraption. This boo doesn't move as long as Luigi looks towards it. If Luigi, however, decides to suddenly look into the other direction, then the boo boo snaps at the chance and moves towards him. This muncher now hits the Bob-omb, which makes the Bob-omb do his famous boom thingy and in consequence transforms the floor into shiny yet deadly coins. That's a really neat little trick that can be used for tons of different things, but this trick alone doesn't allow us to build a don't look back level on its own. So here's the problem. This contraption breaks as soon as Luigi walks past it. Now the boo chases him without triggering the P-switch, since Luigi now shows it his back. This allows us to turn around again. So if we want to build a don't look back stage, that wouldn't be a huge deal. All that we would have to do is to put several don't look back detectors into the stage and maybe use a clown car that catches the boo as soon as Luigi moves past it. If you want to build a don't look forwards contraption, then we also have to chain several of those detectors back to back. And this is where this becomes so tricky. See, everything works flawlessly as long as Luigi is to the left of the backwards only contraption. But for a complete level, we would need a new contraption to the right that replaces this one as soon as it gets unloaded. So where's the problem here? Well, the problem here is that Luigi shows this contraption his back until he made it past the boo, but only then the boo should start to move once Luigi turns around. So the holy grail for backwards only contraptions is a setup that allows us to deactivate a boo detector until Luigi passes it and only then to activate it. Okay, so this problem is surprisingly complex, but luckily solving it isn't. Thanks to our new very best friends, the on-off blocks, we were finally able to do this with ease. Here is what a single don't look forward cell looks like. So we use the exact same setup as before with a tiny yet very important tweak. This time the boo lives on top of a bullet blaster, and this bullet blaster lives on top of a blue dotted line block. The boo is unable to move into any direction as long as it lives on top of this helpful bullet blaster. As soon as we activate a two-state block, however, the bullet blaster gets destroyed because his home space gets invaded by an evil red block. The boo is now free to move and the whole contraption therefore functional. So next we have this setup, exactly 9 blocks away of the backwards only detector. This setup does something very simple. It flips a two-state block twice as soon as it gets loaded. And this is what we use to activate the contraption at just the right moment, because this block flipper is set up to load at the exact moment Luigi makes it past the boo. Hooray! So if we copy many of those contraptions back to back, then they all only activate as soon as Luigi is actually looking towards them, and therefore we have a level that can only be beaten backwards. Woof. So that is the setup required for horizontal backwards only stages. Luckily, the setup for the vertical part is much simpler. So this is the setup for a vertical one direction only area. It's the same as before, but we have to worry much less about the exact distances between the contraption and the activator. So basically, as soon as this area gets loaded, this boo loads. This boo is currently mobilized by the blaster, but this blaster gets destroyed by an on-off block as soon as Luigi makes it to the right, thanks to this little setup. And then the contraption is active. If Luigi looks to the right, then a boo triggers an on-off block, which closes the exit and forces Luigi to replay the area once he made it to the bottom. That's the whole trick, so I know what at least one of you is currently thinking. So how often do we have to copy this setup until it covers a complete vertical subworld? Well, I've got some good news for you, because the answer is 0. We have to copy it 0 times. We only need to build this once, because as it turns out, loading in Mario Maker 2 works exactly the same way as in Mario Maker 1. All items despawn as soon as the horizontal camera border is more than 4 blocks away, and all items stay loaded vertically. So what that means is that everything that got loaded in once stays loaded in a vertical sub area as long as we don't scroll the camera more than 4 blocks away horizontally. And yes, at least judging by the little testing I've done so far, we're probably able to build gigantic contraptions over the space of an entire subworld that permanently stay loaded in their entirety, which is definitely going to be huge. Hooray! But for now, that's the reason why we only need one backwards only detector. Once loaded, it simply works for the entirety of the subworld. Alright, so those are backwards only contraptions and direction detection in general. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you did, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and maybe feel especially backwards today and want to hit the subscribe button as well. I hope that all of you have a wonderful day and to see you soon. Goodbye!